Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Sahil and welcome to yet another episode of our daily and weekly updates of Immigration Radio. On this channel, we talk about Canadian immigration updates on a weekly level. Daily, you do receive a lot of updates, a lot of videos from us on YouTube and all the other social media channels. So please make sure that you are subscribing to our channel and also subscribing to all our social media handles. As far as I am concerned, I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and I practice here in Ontario. My office is here. If you have to get in touch with me, my number is on the screen and the details are there in the description box. More than happy to speak with you. So, guys, today's live is extremely special because this week was actually very eventful. This particular week, we saw changes in Nova Scotia PNP. There was a draw in Manitoba PNP, a couple of draws in express entry as well. One draw, the CRS dropped, the other draw, uneventful CRS. And in this video, we will look at all of these things along with the breakdown of the pool, the express entry pool after the removal of the LMIA points. How is it looking like? What to expect? Towards the end of this live today, we will also have a look at Mark Carney's latest stance after he's been winning the latest election in Canada. And also towards the end of the video, we will have a Q&A session. So keep on pouring your questions throughout this video. We will look at all your questions, all almost all of at max as possible, and also we will give you live answers. So if you are interested in any subject, any topic, do drop in a comment. I will take my best um, effort to answer those questions. Okay. So, guys, today in Canadian immigration, to start with, we are talking about Nova Scotia PNP, the most eventful thing that happened so far in terms of the PNPs is basically Nova Scotia PNP. Nova Scotia PNP does follow a regime of its own, Nova Scotia PNP, and also follows the federal AIP, the Atlantic Immigration Program. So far, in terms of applications, Nova Scotia PNP used to receive the application through its own portal, which is the NSNP. And also, they had a different portal for the endorsement of the applicants or the designated employers. It was a different designated portal again. So, what Nova Scotia did is Nova Scotia has decided to merge the two platforms. And to merge the two platforms, they have transitioned to a new AIP platform. This is basically the new AIP endorsement application system, which is also known as the LAMPSS. Let me just confirm if I'm reading the name correctly. Yes, it is LAMPSS, and this is starting as of today. The It has actually started as of May the 1st. Let's just quickly have a look at the news that was updated on the Nova Scotia website. They say that it is a more user friendly and a mobile friendly experience, which means it's a website that can be accessed on both the devices. It also has inbuilt prompts, reduces application errors, and also has user permissions to allow authorized signing officers to assign organizational and immigration representatives. So the immigration representatives, that is people like us, can be assigned to those applications. The system is already live and it is going to cater to both the applications, including NSNP and AIP. Also, the applications, you know, are going to be available, like I said, starting May the 1st. They will continue to accept endorsement applications until April 30th, which is way back in time. Today is May the 4th. So they've already migrated to this particular new system. So, guys, if any of your employers are willing to look at AIP applications, now they cannot go on the legacy portal. The new one should be the portal that they should be using. Another good news from Alberta, looking like Alberta PNP or Alberta as a province trying to attract more skilled trade workers starting May 2025, which is May the 1st again. They are offering $5,000 for people who want to move to Canada. Now, before you decide to move to Alberta specifically, take a look at the requirements that they have and then only decide whether you want to or not. So, this is the particular eligibility that they are talking about. They are offering money to people who have already moved to Alberta in the past as well. See, look at the dates between May 1st, 2024 and December 31st, 2024. you should be a Canadian PR or a Canadian citizen. So people who have already moved there have actually started calling Alberta as their new home. Should be the ones who should be claiming this. The claim application period is started on May 1st, 2025. You should be meeting the requirements of an employed or a self-employed, but most importantly, you should be working in an eligible occupation. These are the eligible occupations. The NOC codes are there: boiler makers, carpenters, concrete finishers, contractors, and then electrical drillers, electrical power line operators, heavy equipment, heavy machinery, industrial, oil and gas, painters, stream lifter, telecom executives, then tool and die makers. So these are a couple of NOC codes, and they are clearly saying that if you are 18 year and above, you have moved to Alberta and you have been a resident of Alberta for more than 12 consecutive months, then you can claim this and just apply for this, and you will be eligible to get the money. 5,000 for up to 2,000 eligible individuals in the skilled trades who move to Alberta. So 2,000 people will get this bonus, and $5,000 in terms of moving bonus. So which is I think extremely good. It's an unforeseen, unexpected money that Alberta is trying to utilize to attract people. I honestly think this money is well spent trying to keep people in the province and trying to help them build their house. This appears to me like a CRB benefit. The money people could use towards upgrading their skills, probably establishing their business, or buying tools and equipments, because at the end of the day, their skilled trades people could be very, very helpful to them. Okay. After Alberta, let's just look at the draws that have happened so far in this week. Surprisingly, Manitoba held another draw. Now, Manitoba, why I say surprisingly, is because Manitoba, the frequency of draws has not been um, hit so drastically, but yes, the number of people that they invite has actually gone down, and we all know why. That is because the number of people they can invite in terms of the quotas has actually gone down. Let's just look at the draw size at the moment. They have invited people under expression of interest draw 244. Skilled worker overseas draw has happened, and on May 1st, 2025. And number of letters to advice were issued were only 26, and the lowest ranking score was 727. 26 LAs and 7 were issued candidates who declared with a valid express entry profile number. Now, guys, very interestingly, people generally ask me that is Manitoba a good province to move to or not. So, say for example, you've done your PGWP, and say you've done your education, you've received your PGWP. Is Manitoba a good place to move? Honestly, in terms of opportunities and earning money and your frontiers, yes, it is fine. But you have to look at the point based system of Manitoba PNP, which is very interesting, because Manitoba, just like Express Entry, has its own point based system, EOI system, as you all know it. That will give you negative 100 points if you have worked outside Manitoba on a work permit, and negative 100 points if you have studied outside Manitoba in a different province. So that hits you with minus 200 points. Although you do get positive points for your connections in Manitoba, your work experience in Manitoba, your friends, family, anybody in Manitoba, but that usually is not enough to get you through towards the number of people they invite. Now, as you look at the May 1st, 2025 related, draw, only 26 letters were issued with 7 people in express entry. How do you expect to have a 727 score if you've worked and studied outside? Because of those reasons, Manitoba may or may not be the best choice. Do take a very personalized call in that. Do calculate your points in terms of futuristic points as well. Try to see where you can reach if you work for 1 year in Manitoba, if you build a connection, if you have family members, and then only take a call. Because moving to Manitoba, people think that it's a smaller province. It might be very welcoming, which it is. But from a points perspective and from a invitation perspective, it might not be the best choice that you might make. Okay. Do take a very specific look at Manitoba if you're thinking of moving to Manitoba. Overall, the expression of interest, the express entry draw was very, very specific. Now, this is what we are talking about. If you look at express entry, the draw that happened, let me just open the particular express entry pool draw. Just give me 1 second. Yes. Yes, here we are. Okay. Okay. So let's look at the May 1st round. Okay. The May 1st round that happened was the education specific draw. Um, on this particular draw, the number of invitations sent out were 1,000, which I think is a decently good enough number to start with, and 479 worth of a CRS score. Now, this is interesting to see that people in the education field, and honestly, personally, I was expecting, because we don't have a view of NOC codes. I was under the impression that the number of teachers in the pool, if IRCC were to hold only a 1,000 people draw, the CRS would have been higher. So, as per my thoughts, I think 479 is a very, very good cutoff in terms of only 1,000 invitations. Imagine if IRCC decides to hold a larger size draw for education related category people, then I'm expecting that 479 could drop drastically. But the problem is the category specific draws, they have very low quotas. Honestly, I'm not too bullish on having a lot of education related draws in the future. Might as well, to the best, could have one or maybe two other draws depending upon the size. I'm assuming IRCC might just cap it at, say, 2,500 or maybe say 3,500, maybe up to 5,000 people, but we have not had the quota distribution so far. Looking at historically what the numbers would be, I am not too bullish on the number of draws. But yes, anybody who's getting into the education field, especially with NOC codes like 42201, 42202, those people would have a very good outlook into RCIP, into PNP. Do take a look at your communities, do take a look at your prospective job offers. That will help you decide whether you should move to a province or not, and that is another topic which I think you should very well look at. Looking at the May 2nd draw, the May 2nd draw was again a healthcare specific draw. Now, this was something unexpected. I wasn't too happy with this. IRCC decided to hold a healthcare specific draw and for social service occupations. Number one, 500 invitations only, and number two, 510 worth of a CRS. Now, let's just drill this down. Why would this increase for a healthcare draw? The point that people are generally missing is that now it's healthcare and social service occupations. Because they've merged social service occupations with healthcare, that's why it's pushing the CRS score up. Okay. Hence, people are not really happy with this. People are seeing a 510 CRS cutoff on a 500 capacity, which I think is not great. I'm assuming, my hunch says that out of these 500 invitations, a lot of them will be a split. I mean, not too many doctors or not too many RNs. Did this defeat the purpose of having a healthcare draw? Probably. Did this do I think that it's a great draw? No. I think if IRCC had to invite separately in terms of social service workers or all of those, they could have had a separate category altogether, probably have had a separate quota to that category. That would have been a better call. But yes, Canada does need nurses, Canada does need health related occupations professionals, and I think that should be a dedicated quota by itself. They could have additional quotas for social service workers, social support workers, personal support workers, and that could have a dedicated quota itself. But yes, I think still this number should have at least been higher so that more people could have been invited. If you look at the pool altogether, the pool is very interesting and not so promising at the moment. Let me just, yes. So as of April the 27th, 2025, which is right before the May 1st draw, the pool is sitting at an all-time high of 200 and so this one is sitting at a number of 246,673 people. Right now, if you see, people between 501 and 600 are still sitting at 20,000. So there are still 20,000 people who are sitting above 501. If you look at 491, about 12,000 people, 481, about 12,000 people again, and between 471 and 480, again, 16,000 people. Okay, so this number is again pushed up, and this number is still very high. Now, the question that people generally like to ask at this moment is that the next CEC draw, if that so happens, um, what do you expect in terms of a draw size and whatnot? I believe IRCC, despite having a larger draw size, we may not see a sub 500 draw as of yet. 20,000 people is still a lot of number. And imagine this 20,000 is still without the LMIA points. Okay. Which I think is still on a higher side. Do I think there'll be a sub 500 draw? No, I don't think so. There'll be a sub 500 draw anytime soon. Um, the PNP draw that may come in the future might have a lower cutoff. Okay. Right now, people between 601 and 1200, as you can see on the screen, is about 416 people. So 416, that means the PNP draw that may come might be a smaller one, which means most of the people between 501 and 600 are primarily people with higher points, that too without LMIs. Yes, as bitter as it may be, it is the actual truth that you're looking at. All right. Um, so guys, all the other issues in terms of looking at Mark Carney, I believe Mark Carney has, he recently appeared on a Mark Carney very recently appeared on this interview right after winning his ridings and winning the election primarily. He did declare that he still plans to hold the immigration levels to sub 5% of the Canadian population. Still now, he has not thought of expanding any new programs. He has not hinted on any of them. We are still waiting to see the cabinet ministers as well. We're still waiting to see who will be the next immigration minister of Canada. Is it going to be Rachel Bendayan again, or maybe somebody else? Mostly, I'm looking at somebody else because that was only a makeshift arrangement temporarily while the elections could have been there in place. But yes, I believe Mark Carney still wants to hold the. Let me just bring this on the screen. So he wants to hold the temporary resident population to 5% only, still sitting at 2027. They are going to limit the annual PR admissions under 1% post 2027. And the changes, again, he has not hinted on bringing any new programs. He has not hinted on any new programs for temporary foreign workers, but he did mention the importance of temporary foreign workers. I am waiting to see what kind of a lobbying that may take place in the times to come, because eventually businesses, industries, factories in Canada will start facing the heat. A lot of international students, PGWP holders, and a lot of temporary foreign workers are facing expired work permits. Once they leave, the bigger void in the Canadian working class or the Canadian working population will start hitting in. A lot of baby boomers are going to retire in the next 2 years, and that will create a bigger void that Canada may or may not be able to fill in an urgency. So I believe shutting down the borders or shutting down or capping to a higher number may not just be the right strategy. They will have to bring in people. If you look at the latest announcement by Cambrian College, they are now deciding to suspend 10 programs and cut 22 full-time positions. This is coming after the recent announcement of Conestoga College, there was Sheridan College, and all the other PPP, public-private partnership colleges. They have all decided to, either shut down their campuses altogether, or have massive layoffs, or have massive program cutdowns and intake cutdowns. And imagine these lobbies, when they start kicking in, you might have the international, the DLI lobbies, you might have the industrialists, you might have the working population, the businesses in Canada, and also the retiring baby boomers. Eventually, I think Canada cannot afford to shut down the borders, but they will have to work on building their infrastructure from within the next 2 years, and then they should start reopening the borders, uh, inviting permanent residents to less than 1% post 2027. That might still appear to be a lot more aspirational at the moment, or might This particular statement still appears to be in public sentiment, like favor of public sentiment, but is it in the economic benefit of Canada or not? That is something that I believe Mark Carney's cabinet will, assess in the time to come, and then they will probably roll out the reports. Guys, that's all from the coverage of the latest updates that happened last week. I think it's about time when we started looking at the Q&As, the questions that people may have. Let's just start looking at the comment section, and we will try to answer all of them. Okay, when are the trade category draws expected? Okay, I believe somewhere before June, we should see a trade specific draw in the year of 2025. In the year of 2025, we have seen a couple of PNPs, like 3, 4, 5 PNPs. We have seen education, we have seen healthcare, and we have seen French. So 2 or 3 French draws, 5 PNP draws, and we have seen 2 category specific draws. So I believe this is a time when the trade specific draws are happening. Don't expect a lot of trade draws. If you look at previous year, only 2 draws. 2 draws. So this year also, I'm not expecting a lot of draws of categories, because by themselves the categories have very less quota. In fact, in Canada, CEC category itself has a very lesser quota. PNPs are taking away, certain amounts of quota. So yes, I think it is this month, and the next month is about time when we should see the specific draw. This was the question that we were answering. When is an OINP expected? So one of my colleagues, he was at the expo, and he did talk to one of the OINP, representatives at the particular expo, and OINP said that they are facing a lot of challenges in terms of backlogs. They are overloaded with the processing of previous files, and they are now struggling with the newer quotas, the lesser number of quotas that have been assigned to them by the government. Hence, it's at the provincial level that they are still trying to balance off who to invite and when to invite. Also, this year STEM category might not be in preference with OINP. Hence, I know a lot of people are waiting for OINP draws to come through, but OINPs are delayed, as per what we have heard through sources, is delayed because of the processing times. Their ongoing processing times are shooting over 1 year at the moment. A lot of people are waiting. Hence, they're dedicated towards reducing that backlog and then starting more people at this moment. This is what I'm aware of. Yes, Jyotirmay, it was a shocker for me. I did speak about it previously. It is definitely a shocker for everybody. Okay, Akshay, will the new PM change immigration? Can we expect better or worse in the long run? I believe the new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, is a very smart, economically educated person. He definitely understands the importance of immigration in the Canadian economy, and in the Canadian landscape by far. If you look at the size of Canada at the moment, it is almost 4 times the size of India, and the population that we have is less than the Delhi NCR population in India. So he does understand. And the other issue that we are facing is the retiring baby boomer population. Okay, the working class is retiring, hence there will be lesser number of taxpayers in the economy. Therefore, Canada has to make way for newer taxpayers in the economy. They might want to do it or not do it because of the public sentiment and at the pretext of having, safer Canada and all of that. But yes, at the same time, having more working class paying more taxes is a requirement of the country. The country will not be able to survive if this was to stop immediately. Hence, it is not just the new PM, but it is a requirement that the new PM will be facing. What's interesting to see is that how will he match the infrastructure to the incoming population, or how will he prepare for the incoming population in 2026 or 2027? I believe he will take up the office by end of this month. This year will be a bit cold. I think 2026 might just start getting off on a good foot. In the long run, I believe 2026, 2027 should be better. If I were to take a hunch, I'm assuming the points of job offers in LMIA should return anytime in the future with a changed outlook. I believe there'll be new business immigration programs, or there should be new business immigration programs. And also, there will be drastic changes in low wage LMIAs and the temporary foreign worker program altogether. So, couple of these hunches I have going forward in the future. Tarzan, my friend, BCPNP is in for a big roller coaster ride, at least for the year 2025. Appears to me that it is almost dead. Only 1100 spots, spaces for early childhood educators and um, healthcare professionals only. They are still filled with the previous year's inventory, which they want to consume, and also they are not having newer allocations. Hence, BCPNP for 2025 is not good. In fact, they have put a temporary pause, and there are three new launched streams as well, including the international graduate, the masters, and the PhD. That is also on a temp hold. So that might just not be, the good thing. Okay. Uh, Paresh, we just had a healthcare draw. I think it'll be later, not anytime soon. I don't think another um, healthcare draw is expected anytime soon. It might take a bit more of a time. Um, are you giving services to get knock jobs, NOC jobs? I'm assuming with PNP for PR process. My friend, we are not placement consultants. We don't give jobs. We are not job consultancy. Okay, we are an immigration consultancy. We super specialize in Canadian immigration. That's what we are, and that's what we do. And we don't help in finding jobs. We can help you in applying for probably your employers to apply for an LMIA, probably you to apply for a work permit or PR and whatever. You will find our details in the description box. If you want to have a chat with us, but no, we don't help in finding jobs. Okay, why are work permit timelines increasing? If the work permit implied status as per current timelines, it will be November. Can I stay and work? So, okay, so whenever you apply for a work permit, you will get something known as a maintained status. If you applied for that work permit before your current work permit expired, so you apply for a work permit extension before your current work permit expires, then the time beyond this will be known as maintained status. And you can continue to work until a decision is made on your file, and also until you're inside Canada. If you leave Canada and come back, then your maintained status is over. Also, a couple of important things there are. You can read up on the IRCC website for maintained status related details, but by and large, broadly, if you apply for a work permit extension, let IRCC take as much time as they want. That is not your problem, but you will continue to be on maintained status until a decision is made. Surprisingly, I recently saw a PFL, a procedural fairness letter, where IRCC simply just refused the application for a work permit application for an applicant, and did not mention the 90-day notice, restoration period. In those situations as well, the person still has 90 days of restoration period left to to himself or herself, and can utilize that even if IRCC does not explicitly mentions the restoration period, provided it was the first refusal you had, everything was done within the due time, and you did not go out of status or anything like that. So those couple of things you should take care of. Okay, let's see, an interesting question. Good question. Do you think SOWP will be resumed as it was before? Honestly, I don't think so. SOWP will go back to being that easy, what it was. Right now, SOWP, for example, from a student, from an international student's perspective, is not available for people who are doing 2-year diplomas or 1-year diplomas, which I think is fair enough, because Canada is trying to close down its borders, trying to cap the incoming working population. So I don't think it will be that easy going in the future. They might just do away with a couple of NOC codes here and there, include more of them, but it won't be as easy as it was. Basim, any chance of STEM draw in the year 2025? I don't think so. There will be a dedicated STEM draw because STEM is now out of the preferred NOC categories. We might just hit a jackpot with one draw here and there, maybe a very, very small category to be invited. But this year's preferences, they haven't really talked about having STEM in one of their preference. In fact, the PNPs also are not in for a STEM draw this particular year. You might see STEM draw coming back into preference in 2026. But for this year, I think we're almost done with inviting STEM people. This year is almost over. Like this is half over. We're already sitting at the half mark. I'm just a bit very hopeful for a STEM draw with OINP for that matter, right? So, and also for a STEM category, you still have AAA-TP, which is the Alberta Advantage Accelerated Tech Pathway. You can use that, or use AIP, or or the other PNPs that might be there with your disposal. Uh, Okay, good question. Is it right to leave Canada now and come back after 3 to 4 years as per immigration situation? Vimal, I think if you try to leave Canada now, coming back in the future, obviously that is one of the strategies you can adopt. But there are a couple of things that you need to attach to it. Are you going back with enough points that you can return back under a CC draw in the next 2 years? If that is your strategy, then yes. If you are, say, for example, an international student, you need 1 year overseas experience, you go back home, work, you are probably facing an expiring work permit. You go back home, work in your home country for 1 year, add the 50 points, and also you stay in status like you're not breaking any rules. And then you get picked up under CC draw in the future and come back. I think that's a good idea. If you are going back and then you get picked up in PNP, you come back, then that's a good idea. But leaving Canada altogether, thinking that right now things are tough, maybe jobs and all, do you think coming back in 3 to 4 years would help? I honestly don't think so, because Canada is not what it was in 2015. 2015, Canada had just opened its doors of immigration, and they also themselves didn't know that how will that pan out. Now these guys are very well seasoned with almost a decade of inviting people, giving PRs and all. The world or the Canadian government or the Canadian economy has also seen what kind of an impact a wave of immigrants will involve. 3 to 4 years from now, things will only get uh, you know a bit more stricter, I would say, and things will be easier for people who are already inside Canada. If you're here already, try to work your way within the country. Leave if you have a better way to rebounds, like you're going back getting something and then coming back, then that is a good idea. But if you're going back just because you're fed up of this, then I don't think coming back after 4 or 5 years will be that great of an idea. But yes, it's a very specific, personalized sort of a discussion. Like we'll have to see what kind of an opportunity you have from overseas. You might want to go out, do a master's, come back, and then all of those things can be blended in to give a more customized answers. Uh, Is it worth learning French for French draws? Of course, Abdul. Learning French in 2025 and 2026 is still going to carry a lot of weightage. And as Mark Carney has already announced in his first speech as well, they are still trying to develop French speaking population outside Quebec. And let's just look at it. Uh, Developing a French speaking population is also a kind of an edge that they are providing. So they're already having masters and more than 3 or 5 years worth of experience and Canadian experience, and good NOC codes. Everybody has that now, and they already have a lot of people. Right now, 246,000 people sitting in the pool. Now, how to it's just a question of survival of fittest. Who out of those also is better suited? Now, the only way to identify is probably adding more points on French, which is not an easy thing for everybody to do. Hence, I think 2025 and 2026 will still carry a lot of weightage on French. Mark Carney has again, like I said, announced you should be in the good part of being invited if you have that. Do you think a PGWP extension will be held in BC? Okay, no, no. First of all, PGWP extension has nothing to do with BC. I believe you're talking about letter of support for people who are there. Right now in 2024 and 2025, Manitoba and Yukon in 2024, Manitoba, Yukon, and Alberta were the only provinces that had that letter of support for PNP candidates. If that is what you're pointing to, then I don't think so. BC will follow because BC and Ontario have not followed that pattern, even despite knowing that last year was very tough for people who were applying for their PNPs. Even 2025, I don't think so. That is going to happen anymore. You should not have very high hopes with BC for any sort of work permit extension. Please note, PGWP extension cannot happen. You are not legally allowed to go for extension application unless there is a way, or don't try to gamify the system. Okay. If you have a basis of extension, sure, go ahead and do it. If you have a BOWP, bridging open work permit, sure, go ahead and do it. If you have an SOWP or maybe a lesser PGWP, PGWP extension can only happen if the original permit PGWP was issued to you for a lesser duration, if your passport was expiring. Okay, only in that case. That too, you have to do a paper-based application. Please take care of that. Uh, okay, what are the other questions? Mm, Category quotas since August. Okay. Oh, good question. Akshay. Akshay says, is TR2PR program coming anytime soon? Akshay, I recently saw a reel, a shot on TikTok where this person, it was an unnamed account, some very odd name. Mark Carney's latest speech that was yesterday, or I believe day before yesterday, that particular account, what had done was Mark Carney in the focus talking about his announcements on caps and all, and at the bottom the person had said the TR2PR program opening soon. Please note, my friend, TR2PR program has not been announced, and there are no indications of that opening anytime soon. And I don't believe that will happen also. Canada will or can announce couple of surprise programs here and there. Now you already know there was a surprise program for construction workers. Even out of status construction workers could study. Out of status construction workers could apply for PR dedicated spots here and there. Uh, do You could be hopeful for those such programs. They might come here and there with a very low quota, but no, TR2PR pathway is not announced. We don't have an indication. If there is, we'll be the first ones to announce for sure. But no, so far TR2PR pathway is not happening. uh, okay, nice, good question. Sahil, could you talk about ONP master stream? When will the PNP for Ontario resume, and what about the scores? My friend, PNP stream, ONP master stream was a very, very good program until 2024, I believe. The cutoffs were uh, on the lower end. People could use it very wisely. But right now, I believe there are a lot of people who are doing masters. Hence, I believe with the incoming population who's doing masters or studying masters, the cutoffs of that particular stream will go extremely high. But at the same time, I believe it is still a very good stream. But the quotas, the immigration levels plan of 2025 till 2027 has announced reduction in the PNP quotas, which could severely impact Ontario master stream. Okay, and also the other streams as well. We are still waiting to see the first PNP draw, and for Ontario, we are still waiting for NOC codes and all. But we are all sitting at the edge. It could be just any day. Mm. Ria, is there any possibility of healthcare to come down? I'm sitting at 479. Honestly, Ria, I think yes, we are waiting for a higher healthcare specific draw. The ones who've been invited were only 500. Now I'm a bit very doubtful that why did they only invite 500 people? They could have invited more. Um, Honestly, I believe there should be more allocations pending. We are still waiting to see allocations to each category. The news hasn't come out yet. But yes, I believe 479, if not for express entry, could be a good one for OINP and the other PNP streams as well. So it is still a decently good score. Try to improve your points if possible. If you are sitting at 490 plus, that would be a better one to go for. Pramila, What is the chance of getting a PR at 490? I believe in 2025, 490 might just not make the cut, my friend. Anything above 505 might be a safer category, but that too is on the other end of the story, because right now between 501 and 600 as of today, about 20,000 people are there. Even 505 is still a bit of an unsafe number. But still 490, I think you're far from that. Try to focus on French or maybe other NOC codes that might just help you. Okay. Okay. What are the other questions? We have a lot of questions. Mm, Guys, we'll take finishing off two questions. Okay, good questions. Benoni, how about parents and grandparents? I believe parents and grandparents, this year's intake is not going to happen. No new people. They will accept people from the existing quota of or the existing intake that happened in 2020. No more people, no more lottery intake will happen this year, but there'll be a lottery draw that will happen from the previous years, right? If you are still waiting for parents and grandparents, I believe you should make use of the HNC, the humanitarian compassionate applications, if your case is good for that, or try to use a super visa, invite your parents for more than 5 years, and then that might just help you. I believe PGP, parents and grandparents, the PR program this year might just be a bit more of a wait. Okay. Is RCIP a good pathway for tradesperson? Okay, first of all, let's just break this in two parts. Is RCIP good or trade person good? If you look at RCIP, my friend, uh, if you're already working in the community, if you're already having a job offer in the community, and if you have the the other requirements, be it tradesperson or anything else, I believe it will be a good one. Mostly because you'll have to look at the eligible NOC codes, the priority sector list, and then decide whether you want to move to that or probably take up that opportunity or not. In a short answer, if you're already there in the community, if you already have ties and a job offer, then yes, it's good. But if you are thinking of moving there altogether, trying to go for a job hunt, that okay, I will move there and then do the job hunt, then I think it might not be the best idea. Okay, because the allocations of NOC codes or spots for RCIP might just not be enough to accommodate a whole lot of incoming population. So make that move only once you have a job offer in hand. If not this year, then the next year might just be good for it, because RCIP is here to stay for a longer time. So you can move there, prepare for next year if you don't have, the eligibility as of today. For tradesperson overall, I believe for tradesperson, anywhere is good. You could look at REDI, the Ready Pilot. That is also good if you are in the Lanark Leeds area. If you are in Ontario altogether, or if you are in Alberta or anywhere else, that is also a good one, because almost all the PNPs have those preferences towards the 7.2s, 8.2s, no codes. And also from a federal PR perspective, I think if not this year, because this year trades may they have included Cook NOC codes. Next year, if the Cook comes out, then it'll start dropping again for tradespeople. That might just be good enough. So overall, trades NOC code, you already have a very good outlook wherever you are in Canada. And if you're doing it in RCIP, then great. But move to RCIP only if you have an established route connection and a particular staying, in that particular province overall. Perfect, guys. Well, today's session was very, very good. I enjoyed answering, all the questions that you had for me. Let me just look at, did we miss any super chat? No, we did not, right? So I think we are good. Perfect. Guys, I wish you all the best. And I really wish that all of you get your pathways in terms of coming to Canada sorted out very, very soon. If you have to get in touch with us, my number is on the screen. The details are there in the description box as well. Do feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer your calls. And wish you all the best, and I'll see you on the other side.